All I can do is speculate. That's it. That's all I can do. But I've been in his shoes, so my speculation is based on some pretty good evidence. And over time, I think it'll show that I'm right. But I do need to disclose for you guys, a lot of this is guessing, because when Jon holds a press conference, look, you want to do two things if you're holding a press conference. Okay, you are not under subpoena. You do not have to be there. You are not under oath. At a press conference is your time to tell your story. When you go into a hearing and you get sworn in, rules change a little bit, but that is why you have a press conference. So you want to break some news, get ahead of it. You want to break it yourself so you can get ahead of the story before other people start reporting rumors and innuendo. You then have a hope that you can win over the media and that they'll say something nice about you. That generally doesn't come through, but that's your hope. The first part is the entire reason you hold the press conference, so that you can break some news and tell a story before somebody else does. Well, that was the one thing that didn't happen. We left that press conference not knowing any more than we went in. All we knew was that Jon Jones was out of UFC 200. He's going to be in some red tape. He's likely facing 2 years. He's been flagged by USADA. The one card that they had left to play is for what? What was he flagged for? The substance. That was the one thing that they could have revealed. Now, the reason that they should have, or the reason we believe they were going to, is because USADA's going to release it anyway. They were against the clock. It was going to come out. So if you're holding a press conference and that's the only card that you've still got left, you want to play it. Or don't hold the press conference. There's an argument for not even having the press conference, but this is the route they elected to go down. They don't tell us what the substance is. They don't say. So I'm a little bit confused going, wait, Jon's going to get on a plane, go back home, bury his head in the sand for a while, wait to outrun this thing. Okay, he's going to be knee deep in red tape. He's going to have to get lawyers and go to hearings and commit. He's got a lot of stuff he has to do. This is his time to tell us the substance. And then where he wants to go from there would likely be to tell us how it got in his system. He's got a couple of choices. One is to say, look, it was a tainted supplement. Two, I had no idea this was on the ban list. And that's a real answer. People are really tired of hearing guys saying it, but it doesn't make it any less true. That banned list is extremely confusing. And it is not as simple as checking a substance against the ban list. It is absolutely not. You could check a substance against the ban list. It could come back and you could get a green light. And then that substance could have ingredients within it that you did not check. It gets really confusing, guys. And the words, I mean, you've got words here with 12 and 13 letters in them. 4 and 5 syllables. Words you've never even heard. Names you've never even heard of substances that are on these ban lists. So it gets a little bit tough. It gets a little bit tough. I assumed that Jon was going to lay out his story. And he's only got two options. Either I did it, and then he can go where he wants from there. He can tell everybody I did it. I didn't think I'd get caught. Shove it up your ass. I'll see you at my hearing. Or he can say, look, I did it, and I'm sorry. He can go whatever direction he wants there, but that's one option. The other option is to outright deny it. The test is wrong. Now, that's a big problem. If there's anything that the commissions hate, it's when a guy doesn't come clean. If there's anything that USADA, who will protect itself at all costs, and they've got an unlimited budget, if there's anything that those guys will do, it is to protect their reputation. So if you say that the science is wrong, they will stop at no limit to prove that the science is right and maintain their credibility, okay? But those are your two options, and those are your only options. So Jon comes out, he holds a press conference, he keeps the substance back. It was a little bit confusing. We didn't gain any ground. I'll tell you this. This doesn't make Jon innocent. Okay, Jon's guilty. It's innocent. They've got the test. He's guilty. But his actions were that of an innocent man. A guilty guy throughout the history of these types of things does not come down 12 hours later and hold a press conference. He tucks away with his team. He gets his story together. He figures it out. He looks into the legalities. He gets everything in line and waits for a hearing. He does not come out and talk. Jon came out and talked. I appreciated that. I think all the media did. I think the fans and fighters did too. It took courage. It took courage for him to get up to walk through the hotel in front of all of the fans that are down there waiting for him, that are yelling things at him and asking him questions and mad and saying he ruined it and I came out here to see you and all and then face the media. And the other thing when you face the media in these situations, it's PR 101. It's very frustrating. It's very disingenuous. But PR 101 says you show up, you read a prepared statement, and you leave. You take no questions. Jon didn't do that. He took every question they had, and he did not have a prepared statement at all. It was very interesting. It wasn't the way, historically, a guilty person would have behaved. Here's my commentary on it, though. Here's an afterthought. Again, this is from my own experience. When I was in Jon's spot, it was the exact same. I got a test that came in. The things they found, they didn't really matter. Nobody knew what they were. They didn't have anything to do with performance. They didn't have any, they were silly things that were on the test. And all was going to be forgiven. They just weren't that big of it. In Jon's case, he has some kind of estrogen blockers. Now, the deal with estrogen blockers is they really don't matter. They just don't. They just don't. But they're banned. So it is illegal. It's cheating. You can't have them. There's no way around that. Jon's big thing was, hey, I didn't cheat. I didn't take a performance enhancer. Well, that's a misunderstanding. If you took a banned substance, you cheated. It doesn't have to be a performance enhancer. That's the media misrepresenting that. There's a banned list. It does get silly. I'll concede that. It's still cheating, period. So Jon has estrogen blockers. It then later comes out that he's got 2 estrogen blockers. Now, there's no supplement out there that's tainted and has estrogen blocker. He had to take the estrogen blockers, even though he hasn't come to terms with that and isn't ready to tell everybody that's what happened. And he will get there. He's got no choice. The science is in place. He doesn't want to take on USADA. But, again, when I went through it and I was in the same, so what? So what? Well, what I was secretly carrying with me was the one piece of knowledge that I had that nobody else did, which is there's another test out there. The results just haven't come in. In Jon's case, I think one of the questions that's yet to be answered is, did that happen to him? Is that what he's going through? We had this press conference and we had this debacle over a test that was taken on June 16th. Those are the results that are back. Those are the 2 banned substances that have got him in this spot. Is there another test out there? Is there another shoe that could drop? The next test could come back and it's clean, but it could drop. On me, it did. I think the answer is yes. And if it's not, then USADA's got some explaining to do. If a guy who's failed a test before is the champion of the world and is main eventing the biggest card in history, last test was 1 month before the fight, USADA's got some explaining to do. I don't think USADA works that way. I believe there's at least 1 more test out there, if not 2, and Jon doesn't have the results of those back. And he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful. He didn't know this stuff was going to show up. You just don't know. You just don't know. And I think that could be the next piece of this story, is when the results for the next test come back.